Hello and welcome to Chatterbox, the show where we literally chat boxing. We're in the studio today for a special edition of the show because the Tyson Fury train is rolling into town. The greatest showman in British sport will be strutting his stuff on the 3rd of December as he takes on Chisora. Good times will have never felt so good.
I've been searching the world for somebody to bet to me. My time. We're underway. Oh my goodness! How is he doing this? And the right hand from Fury. I'm going to make him feel the fury. Give it up for the Dipsticky! Tyson Fury is proving himself here.
When that bell rings, that's going to be a war.
Tyson Fury is the heavyweight champion of the world.
He's going to be reminded of who I am and what I did to him last time.
I'm Josh Denzel, and alongside me is my regular sparring partner, Frampton, former super middleweight champion, Richie Woodhall, and one of Britain's most promising heavyweights, David Adeleye. How you doing, boys? You good?
I'm good, mate, yeah.
It's nice to be in the studio again.
It's good. It's much better, this, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I feel more comfortable now. I've got security over there. Everything's blessed. Everything's blessed. Now, Carl, 8 years on, we're getting Fury Chisora III. Tell me, is there any hope that we're going to see Carl Frampton, Santa Cruz free? Can we put it... Let's sign a contract.
No, not a chance. Not a chance. I done something recently. I'd done a little documentary at home, and I'd done one round of sparring with a big guy, but he was only messing with me. I had to lie on my back for 20 minutes after it, so I haven't got it in me anymore.
No, the thought of the ice bath's too much.
Yeah, I can't do it.
Richie, we're heading to another incredible Tyson Fury fight. Now, they're always events, right?
Yeah, they're great events. Tyson's a terrific fighter, but it's everything that surrounds him as well. And yeah, it's one hell of a show when Tyson Fury boxes. And yeah, can't wait for another one.
Now, David, you're making short work of all your opponents, but I'm thinking in your future, all you're seeing is stadium fights for all the marbles.
Yeah, you know, and my mum wants them to be over pretty quickly, so I got to do it for her. So yeah, no, I try, man. You know they say you don't get paid overtime.
David, you're the future. Tyson Fury is the now, and we're joined by the big man himself, the WBC heavyweight champion of the world. It's Tyson Fury. How are you, brother?
I'm all good, guys. Nice to see you all well and healthy.
No doubt. Now, we know you're locked into training camp in Morecambe for the fight with Chisora, which is live on BT Sport box office. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling like I do every day. Like a beast, man, like a beast. I've been training hard, working it out, sacrifice, dedication. I physically, mentally, emotionally can't do any more to win this fight. By the time the fight comes around, I'll have been away from my family for 9 weeks. The old age of 34-year-old, still putting it in, grinding myself to the bone. Training twice a day, 6 days a week. Sparring. David knows what it's like, how hard we train up in Morecambe Bay.
Yeah.
The Lancaster Bomber. We know how we do it. You know, I can't physically do any more. Training, focusing. I've got zero distractions. I'm off social media. I'm not speaking to anybody. I don't mix with anybody. I don't want to risk getting colds or flus or anything. So, you know, I'm just... what was that thing we used back in the COVID called? Quarantining.
You quarantining?
Just away from everybody on my own. I've got the Sugar Hill in here and the cup, and that's it.
Tell me this, Tyson. 34 is young, reasonably young for a heavyweight, but do the camps get any harder?
34 is not reasonably young because
well,
I've been a
oldest,
professional 14 years
well,
this year,
I suppose,
December.
Yeah.
And I turned pro at 20-year-old, you know what I mean? So it's not how old a heavyweight is. Look, Joe Joyce is like over 38, I think, but he only turned pro in 2017. So he hasn't had nowhere near the wear and tear on his joints. I'm like an old banger Ford Escort with 250,000 miles on the clock. And every part of me is absolutely battered to pieces. Joints, elbows, knees, back. I've got some severe mileage on the clock.
Yeah.
Imagine being a heavyweight and being punched to pieces for years and years and years.
Yeah.
And keep going and keep going and keep going and day in and day out and just keep taking the pain. Like Rocky said, it's not about how much pain you can give out, but it's about how much you can take and keep moving forward.
Yes, I was waiting for the Rocky quote. Now, David, you spent a week up in Morecambe training, sparring with Tyson. I think you're probably best placed to tell us, how is it? I mean, do you ever get them nerves going up and fighting a man like Tyson? Or is it just, you know what, the mentality is, I'm here to work and I'm here to get better?
Yeah, just about working, you know, being the best that I can be. And I've been there for so long now. I mean, Tyson, I've been insured in his car for the past 3 years. Even when I'm not up there, I'm still insured in his car. So I give him a text, Tyson, can I get the car? So he picks me up, gives me his car. He's like, Dave, you're not still insured in it? I'm like, yeah, it's just we're all on insurance. But yeah, you kind of get used to it, and I'm always there learning. Like I said, I'm a sponge. So I go there, I sit down, observe everyone, and any questions I do have, I just ask and just get the answers.
No doubt. Now, Tyson, I want to ask you, what do you think of this man sat here? Because I know he's been in camps with you over the years, obviously been insured in a car for 3 years. There must be a mutual level of respect. What do you think about him as a fighter? He's one of these young and up-and-coming, hungry fighters.
Yeah, listen, Dave Adelaide's the future of this division. And I told him the other night in the changing rooms, I said, you've got to believe in yourself, Dave, because you're going to take over the division, mate. And he is great sparring, you know, very, very good sparring. If he was no good to me, I wouldn't bring him in training camps. But he's excellent work, so I keep bringing him in. Since the second Wilder fight, rather, I keep bringing him in time and time again. Keeps learning, he keeps listening, and he can be the next Lancaster Bomber, I think, for sure.
And Tyson, just looking at Derek Chisora, I was looking at his record today. Since you boxed him in 2014, he's fought 20 times and had some really good fights, hasn't he? With the likes of Dillian White, and he's beat Pulev. He pushed Alexander Usyk to the limit, give him his hardest fight. So what are you expecting from him this time? Because you beat him pretty convincingly, well, both times you fought him.
Yeah. I fought him a long time ago. How long ago was that? 14. It's
yeah,
a long
2014.
time ago,
yeah,
8 years. Yeah.
8 years ago. A lot of things have happened in 8 years, and I think we've both moved on as fighters. And I'm expecting what Derek Chisora always does and always brings to the game, and always will do until he's retired. He will bring brute force, strength, and determination like no other. And I would never underestimate somebody like Derek Chisora, because I know that any top 10 heavyweight has an off night against Chisora and he's beat. Not only beat, he'll knock him out too. Any overlooking somebody like Derek Chisora and you lose. That's a fact. Many people have thought Chisora's an easy fight until they're in there with him. And then they realise that it's not so easy. And he just keeps coming, and he's got a head like a brick. And you can just keep punching it, he just keeps walking forward. It's crazy, really. He's like a bionic man.
It's clear, Tyson, that there's loads of respect between you and Derek, but in the approach to this fight, at some point, when does the mood change?
The mood changes when we're in there on the night. He's going to try and punch my face in, and I'm going to try and punch his face in. And that's all there is to it. We are professionals. We've been in this game, like I said, 14 years. We're nothing new to the game, are we? We're just old veterans now. I can't wait. I can't wait for the challenge. And Derek Chisora stepped up to the plate, so I've got to give him respect, because he's always been a fighting man. If you look at his record, he's avoided nobody. He's fought everybody, and he's fought all the best of all these errors.
Does it get under your skin a little bit, Tyson, that it's clear to see that you're preparing, you're ready for the best Derek Chisora that we've ever seen, and he pushed Usyk, who's a lot of people see as the number 2 in the division, he pushed him really, really close. He's not really getting the respect of a lot of the public, and I suppose the press as well, coming into this fight that I think he deserves.
I'll tell you what it is, Carl. People who don't respect him have never been punched in the face before. And they've never had a fight in their life. And they talk about real fighting men. And a man who would take the back of his hand to any one of these bums who can call him a name. I just don't get it. I don't get it how some man who works in an office can have the audacity to call a pro fighter a bum when they've never had a fight and never likely to have a fight. So I don't take it to heart, really, because what a man who's never had a fight can say, I'll just say to him this. I'll say, how many world titles have you won, pal? And he'll say, none. I'll say, well, your opinion means to me then. There you go.
There you go. Now, listen.
Say no more.
No, that is you put it fantastically bluntly. I like it. Now, I know we said we're not looking past Derek Chisora, but assuming you win, what are you going to say to Usyk if you do see him ringside? Because is there going to be any histrionics where he's jumping in the ring and he's trying to set up a fight? Because I know his team are desperate for that fight against you.
I have zero interest in the little. I've no interest in him. Zero charisma, zero personality. He beat the bodybuilder. The bodybuilder gave him some credibility. And if people keep saying, oh, you keep saying he's a middleweight, he's a middleweight. But there's factual facts behind this middleweight talk. When I was a super heavyweight in the amateurs, I was a super heavyweight at 12-year-old. He was a middleweight when I was a heavyweight. He was getting beats of the likes of Sean Porter at 75 kilo when I was 115, 116 kilos as a kid. So that's why I say middleweights. There ain't a middleweight been born through his mother could even give me a challenge. Never mind this sausage. Oh, I can't wait. I really can't wait, but I want to hear the excuses after I beat them.
Do you know what? That's
Because
actually...
they said all this about Deontay Wilder. They said it all about everybody I've ever fought. All the opponents I've supposed to have been. And when I come out victorious, they always make an excuse. But the thing is that I've learned is you can't please everybody. And you can only please yourself. And the most important person you got to please is your wife.
Yeah.
Because if she's unhappy, then you're in. That's the fact.
That's a mad statistic, Tyson, that Sean Porter beat him as an amateur. I didn't actually know that. So from being beat by Sean Porter's about 5'8". He's a small guy, very, very strong and a good fighter. But is there an amount of respect there that he's went from someone who was being beat by smaller guys to a heavyweight champion of the world?
I have zero respect for him, and I'll show that on the night. Zero.
And as you spoke a little bit about maybe favouring a big British dust-up like you've had with Chisora. Now, there's a lot of young, hungry British heavyweights, not just the one in this room, but we've got Joyce, we've got Dubois, and they're all snapping at your heels. Is that who you see as maybe the people to maybe try and take your heavyweight crown?
Nobody's taking my heavyweight crown, only myself. The only man who can beat Tyson Fury is Tyson Fury. You know, all these guys, they can do what they want. They can get mandatories, they can do whatever. But when you rule in the division like the Wizard of Oz, what I am, you can just do what you want, basically. And that's what I'll be doing. The funny fact is, though, that Deontay Wilder has got to fight Andy Ruiz in a final eliminator to fight me again. Wouldn't it be crazy if the WBC, this happened and he had to fight for the WBC again for the fourth time? That would be crazy.
You know what? Even full fight, I think people would still tune in.
Absolutely,
I would love to see that fight again. Go on,
I was
David.
going to ask, would you take that fight?
I don't want to see it.
Yeah,
I don't want to see that fight again.
I don't think Wilder does particularly either. Now, I know you're in the mood to entertain today. Now, it's been fantastic. What fireworks can we expect from your walkout?
That would be telling now, wouldn't it?
You got to ask the question.
These walkouts and these events are very big special events, and people are paying money to see it, so I can't give it away for free.
Listen, Tyson, BT are paying you enough, man. We need maybe even a little snippet, like a trailer.
BT are underpaying the Gypsy King. I'm going to put me, after this fight with Chisora, I'm going to put my fees up 50% higher.
I'm sorry, BT. I'm trying to stay in this seat, so if I've caused you a bit of trouble, I'll take that back. We'll get the lawyers involved. Now, tell me, Tyson, why should people tune in to watch you against Derek Chisora on December the 3rd?
It's getting a world heavyweight title fight in the UK at Tottenham. And it's going to be a good fight, you know. It is what it says on the tin. Fury Chisora makes for a good fight, and that's it. People want to tune in, they tune in. If they don't, watch something else. Watch a BBC, Channel 2. Watch Dancing on Ice or something.
Slightly different audiences, no doubt. But Tyson, thank you so much for coming on. It's always a pleasure, always entertaining, and good luck on December 3rd.
Thank you, guys. It's been a pleasure speaking to you all. Good luck. God bless you. All the best.
Nice
Adios,
one.
amigos.
Gents, how do we follow that up?
It's hard to top that. That was good, wasn't it? The big man's in great form.
Do you know what? For a man that's in camp and deep in camp, and you know how hard he trains, He's always got time to entertain, always got time to sell the fight. I mean, he didn't really sell it at the end. He goes, oh, it's me and Chisora, you can tune in if you want.
Just very down to earth, isn't he? That's what I think so like about Tyson. He's just a very down to earth guy. He just says it as it is. But what I liked about that there as well, also talking about the fight, he knows how dangerous Derek Chisora is.
Yeah.
He's locked himself away. He's not, he's doing it properly. He's away from his family. He's only got certain people with him because he knows it's heavyweight boxing. And Chisora has got a chance. He has improved. And if you catch him with a shot, you just never know. And he knows that. And that's why you've got to admire him, because coming through winning the fights like against Deontay Wilder, and he's been in some massive, massive fights. This is still a big fight for him, and he's taking it seriously.
David, he was very complimentary about you. How does that feel coming from a man like that?
Yeah, it's good, especially being where I am in my career. You got a man at the top of the tree, and you got me that's kind of like, I use it in like uni terms. I'm basically like fresh as you, basically. And he's like getting ready to graduate, but he's noticing me, and he's saying I'm improving and whatnot. I'm not the same fighter I was 12 months ago, 24 months ago, so I'm forever learning and adapting. So I sparred both guys. I sparred Chisora first in the amateurs, and I ended up sparring later on. And then we ended up doing rounds not long ago, I think about last year. So he is a very good fighter. And one thing about Chisora is he's better than his record suggests. A lot of people, if you don't know box, will look at his record and think, maybe he's a pushover, or he's had so many losses, but he's always coming to fight. And the thing about Chisora is he gets comfortable in an uncomfortable zone. A lot of people get tired and whatnot, and then they don't really want to be there no more. You see Chisora, he's blowing. He's tired. He's tired, and he just carries on swinging, and he's swinging, and he's swinging. So yeah, it's definitely good work. I mean, I remember I was sparring Chisora as well, and he started swinging for me, and I was moving the shots, and he ended up hitting the ropes, and he just, the ropes are just moving, and but he's just going for it.
Yeah,
he's got a good engine though, hasn't he,
He's
Dave?
always got a good engine. He's got a good engine.
No
he
doubt.
likes fighting.
Now that actually leads us on nicely, because I want to take a look at the top 10 heavyweight rankings according to BoxRec. Now, Tyson is actually not on this list due to his brief retirement, but I want to go through it. Where would Tyson Fury go, or is it a simple question if he was on this list?
Oh, for me, it's easy enough. He's right at the very top, Tyson is. Alexander Usyk definitely would be number 2 for me, but I think AJ and I think Deontay Wilder for me would be number 3 and AJ number 4, to be quite honest. And there's a fighter that I think should be in the top 10. Is a Cuban called Frank Sanchez. He's a very good boxer.
Yeah, he is.
So he'd probably be in my top 10.
No doubt. Now, we saw that top 10. I want to know what are the great fights to make, regardless of promotion. I want to see what's your ideal 3 or 4 fights from that top 10.
There's a few. I think
Wilder,
you can
Joyce.
Yeah. Who? Joyce?
Wilder, Joyce.
That's a test of chins, boy.
Wilder, Joyce, yeah.
I want to see that fight. Wilder, Joyce.
See, for me, I'm saying maybe he's the only one. If I'm Joe Joyce's team, out of every other heavyweight, I'm like, just what's the point? Like, you could be beating him up for 10 or 11 rounds in a fight, and he's always got the dynamite. Like, he could just take you out and switch your lights out.
The neutralizer is his chin. We were talking about it before. His skull's about 3 times thicker than a normal man's.
It's unbelievable. It's one of the best chin. You talk about Marvin Hagler type chin, Wayne McCulloch type chin. Just Joe Joyce is of that type of chin.
Definitely.
But it's got to catch up with you at some point. You know what I mean? And Wilder, if anyone's going to make it catch up with you, it's got to be Wilder.
2 fights, dream fights, obviously. Fury Usyk, Fury AJ. Quick one, Fury Usyk. How does it go? Go down the line.
Fury Usyk, how does it go? I think the Fury size is the difference. Usyk is a very skilled fighter. Fury is an extremely skilled fighter also. So it would be a bit of a discredit to say it's only his size wins him the fight. I think Fury beats them all.
But doesn't Fury struggle against smaller opposition, harder to hit?
Well, he has in the past.
Struggle is
he has
a
in the
strong
past.
term.
I mean, you go way back to Steve Cunningham, who was a smaller guy, but the Tyson Fury of then, is a different guy.
Yeah, for sure.
He doesn't take the risks anymore. Tyson Fury doesn't. If he stands tall, it would be a nightmare for Usyk.
Yeah.
Usyk's movement around him is very, very good. He's a very skillful boxer and he comes in at different angles, and AJ just couldn't cope with that. I think Fury would be able to cope with that, because Fury, for a 6'9" heavyweight, he's so agile.
Yeah,
it's incredible. He's a freak for his agility. So for me, again, it would be Tyson.
I would say Tyson as well. You know, just for the plain simple fact that Tyson's just too big for him. And, you know, you see the second fight with Joshua and Usyk. Usyk slows down a bit. I mean, Joshua started to get a bit of success, I think, around 9, around 10.
That's right.
And, you know, you make them sort of mistakes against Tyson, he's going to punish you. And once he's leaning on you, putting all that weight on you, I mean,
he's very smart as well.
Yeah.
Smart.
No doubt. Now, Fury, AJ, does it go the same way as Fury, Usyk, or is it a different kettle of fish? We did see a better AJ against Usyk in that second fight. It's different beast.
Yeah, I think AJ's issue. Look, anybody, we're trying to make a claim here for Derek Chisora to beat Tyson Fury. So, of course, AJ can beat Tyson Fury. They all can, all heavyweights. You know, if someone lands a shot out of the blue, it could switch anyone's lights out. But I just think, I think Fury beats them all, and I think the issue with AJ would be he's just too rigid for him, and Fury he's fluid. He's so fluid. Doesn't really make sense how fluid he is. You look at the shape of him. You know, he's not the most body perfect guy. He's massive. And
I think that allows him to be a little bit more languid.
I don't think you can write AJ off because of his
can't.
power. He's got fantastic power. He can punch AJ. And never mind Fury, AJ. I think AJ Wilder, for me, is a
good fight.
That is a hell of a fight. It's who connects
That's
first.
a good fight. Everyone's writing AJ off. Like I mean, I don't know why people write AJ off. The power's real. I mean, I've been in the ring with AJ as well. He's definitely got power in his hands. Him and Wilder.
It's whether he wants it anymore, Dave. That's the thing with me, whether AJ actually wants it anymore. He's a very, very wealthy man. He's earned a lot of money. He's been world champion. Does he want it anymore? I just don't know. And if that desire has gone, we've all, you know, we've been there. I've been there. Carl's been there. If that desire is not there, then it's all over for you.
No doubt. Now, I spoke to you earlier on the show about the Fury show, and every time he fights, it's an incredible show. Is he one of those fighters now that we're making a case for Chisora, but it could be a big man down the road. You have to turn up for it. Like, you know, when Mayweather fought, when Pacquiao fought, when Canelo fights, you're just there for one man, really. Yeah. Is that the case? Has he kind of transcended it to that level?
That's what it is now. Absolutely, yeah. A few fights ago, maybe not so much, but right now Tyson Fury is the golden ticket. Everybody wants to be at a show.
It's the whole package. It's the Tyson Fury package.
Extravaganza.
It's great for boxing.
Yeah, no,
really.
David, I mean, you were on the Dylan White undercard. How was it to be a part of an event that was that big? And
Good feeling. I mean, nobody's there for me, but it's still a good feeling. You know what I mean?
You're trying to nick a few fans on Fury. That makes sense.
Yeah.
He's like, you know what? I'm insured on this motor.
Exactly. So, like, yeah, it was a good feeling. You know, just the fact you get to do the ring walk, you get to be in the changing rooms. My change room was like 2 doors down from Tyson's. Ended up going back to Tyson's change room, just watching him do his little warm-ups. I'm watching him after the fight. It's just good. And at the end of the day, it's all just memories, isn't it? So, you know, these are things I can remember. And when I get to that sort of stage, I've been there before. So it's like, I remember how he did it. I remember how they did it. You know, so I just start taking things from each person and I just add it to my own sort of arsenal.
No doubt. Now, in your interview post-fight, it was, you know, I mean, you got the goosebumps going. It was special. You were very, very, like, I guess just straightforward in your plans.
I mean, I've had my turn learning fights. I wanted to fight for some titles quite a while ago. I couldn't seem to do it. 2023 will happen, God willing. And I mean, the British public's going to have to see a lot more of me.
There is a British title fight coming up at the end of the month. Nathan Gorman, Fabio Yardley. Could that be one you've got your eye on, the winner?
Yeah, they're both light work. I'll take it with ease.
What's next for you? Because I know there's Nathan Gorman, Fabio Wardley are fighting. Are these the kind of people on your radar? And if you've got something to say, find the camera and say it down the lens, because we want to hear it.
No, you know, they're both good fighters. I'm one of the fighters that I perform better when the fighter's better, or when they come to fight. You know, all of these tuck-up fighters and whatnot, it's boring. It's like, give me something back. You know, I need feedback. I want to start getting into real sort of dust-ups.
Dave, what about, you haven't been past 6 rounds yet, have you? So if a fight was to come up, say, for the British title for a 12-rounder, would you jump at it?
110%. If somebody pulls
And
out...
be confident?
110%. If somebody pulls out the fight, and I'm not even saying it just to say it, I'm just saying it because, you see, one thing about me, I'm real. A lot of fighters say, oh, I'll fight there, I'll do this, I'll do that. I'm real. You can't go and put me in with someone like Wilder and that right now. But even they told me, do you want to fight? I'll say, yeah. And I'll just go for it straight away. But the people that I'm calling out, I'll punch them up. I'm just what it is.
Yeah,
I genuinely believe that. I think I'd give it to them. You know, I've seen what they do, I've seen what I do. And one thing about me is I've got bottle, my bottle won't leave me. It's as simple as that. When the going gets tough and I have to have it out, I'll have it out. It's as simple as that. I'll go out on my shield. That's facts and figures.
No doubt.
Point blank period.
Listen, I believe it. I believe it. I'm sat over here and I believe it.
Yeah, I'm not, you know, I don't want to say it when I come across as arrogant, because I'm not arrogant, I'm just confident. You know, I believe in myself. But these are the sort of fighters that I think I can do it with, you know. And as time goes on, I think I've got to start proving it, you know, because like I say, it's one thing doing it in the gym, is another thing doing it on fight night. Because there's times when I watch myself on fight night and I'm like, nah, I've done way better than that in the gym.
So would you like a British title shot next year?
Definitely, most definitely. I think a British title shot, and then I'll start climbing up the rankings and start fighting the more experienced fighters, you know.
Do you know what? Dubois is probably the person that we haven't spoken about as much on this show. And we saw kind of what Joe done to Joe Joyce's career when he beat Dubois. Is that something? I mean, soonish. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to get. Listen, I'm not trying to ruffle their feathers, but if that fight came about, that's a great British dust up.
I mean, I know Dubois from the amateurs. We used to train with each other in the amateurs. You know, we both boxed for Del Youth. But it's funny you say that, because I went to a boxing show a few weeks ago and I saw Dubois with his family there. And
you can't stick it on a man when he's with his
his dad, and his dad said to me, Dave, what's going on? Like, you're looking good in the gym and you've been looking good. And I was like, yeah. And he goes, we asked Frank Warren for the fight, to fight you. I went, yeah? He said, yeah. I said, well, that's easy money. Give it to me. And then, but we all started laughing and whatnot. But no, Dubois is good friends, man. We're good friends. But at the end of the day, when we spar, it's bad intentions. You know, I've been in the ring with him many times as well. So
Dubois fighting on the Fury Chisora undercard on the 3rd. What do you see next for his career? Can he take that step up to the next level? Because he's going to have to come back and fight a Joyce. He's going to have to come back and fight some of these top guys.
No, I think he can. I think he's a very good fighter. He's a really, really good jab, solid jab. His last few fights, he's looked pretty impressive,
good, yeah.
in fairness. It's a bit of a waiting game for guys in Dubois' situation, because the real top guys, they're all trying to sort that situation out. Fury and Usyk and AJ and Wilder. And Dubois, it's still, I think he would probably like to get there quicker than he's going to get there, just because of the waiting around he's going to have to do. But I think he's doing the right things. And from the Joyce defeat, in my opinion,
he's taken and learnt lessons from
yeah,
that,
and he's improved. He has improved.
No doubt.
I remember him up at GB again when there was Joe Joyce there was Daniel Dubois, there was AJ, and they all had something about them. You know, they brought something different to the table. But for him, we've mentioned it, his jab was just absolutely terrific. He had the best jab up at GB. With Joe Joyce, it was obviously his engine, but Daniel. So I used to say to him, listen, I said, you can win fights just with your left hand, because it's not a soft jab, it's a real sickening punch, hard, straight, accurate. It's a great jab. But I think with him being, he's the WBA regular champion now, Carl, isn't he, I think he can use that now, and he's got to get more and more experience. I still think he's behind that leading pack, but he's on the verge, and obviously David's just behind him, like Carl said. But he can use that title now to have maybe 2 or 3 defences, get established, and then take the step up again, I think.
Incredible. Now, that's the British scene. What about the Americans? We're joined by Malik Scott, former heavyweight boxer and trainer of Deontay Wilder. First of all, I've got to say congratulations to you and the team on that stunning return to action by Deontay Wilder last month. It was very impressive. It was very scary first round knockout, which I definitely put the heavyweight division on notice, right?
Yeah, definitely. That was the plan. We drilled and drilled and drilled. We knew we would offset Hellenius as long as it lasted. We knew we would make him reach. And he reached, and we made him pay in the most horrific way. And that's how we all wanted it done. We didn't want that fight to go 3, 4, or 5 rounds. We wanted to come and make a statement. We wanted Deontay to be fierce and violent, but at the same time, using his back leg, and that's exactly what he did.
Do you know what Deontay said himself after the last Fury fight? He'd kind of lost the motivation and was considering whether or not to carry on. You know, I think he's certainly got his mojo back because, you know, that was scary, and the way he was acting after the fight as well. You know, he's got it back.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. Deontay is very people-driven right now. You know, extremely people-driven. And he's motivated off of how many people, you could say, he's influenced, how many people he motivates. And that's enough for him to come out those silk pajamas in the morning and get out there and do road work, to get out there and, you know, box 5, 6 guys in one day, to drill, to listen, to have tons of humility. And when he's in that mode, like I said before, he's the most dynamic fighter in the history of the sport. You know, all he has to do is take to a system, and he has bought into a system of discipline, game plan, and so forth. And it's working out good for him. He's the best heavyweight in the world right now.
I think he's in a really, it's a strange situation that, so he's fought Tyson Fury 3 times, but there's still if that fight has to happen again for the 4th time, there's a massive appeal for it still. Mm-hmm. There's no other fight I can imagine that you want to see happen 4 times.
I'm very interested in the Fury 4 fight, you know, for Deontay. I'm interested in him and Usyk because I know how good Usyk is, but I also believe that biomechanically, what Deontay dishes out, I think it's not humanly possible for Usyk to stand up to that, especially round after round after round, because Usyk is a very well fundamental, great boxer. No one respects him on U.S. soil the way that I do. But he's one of those fighters, one of those slick fighters that after fights, if you notice, he has a scratch here, a lump here, blood here, which means he's getting hit. And then you get in there with Deontay. It ain't no being slick for 12 rounds. You have to get hit because the power doesn't come. It's not slow power. It's rapid speed power. So you got to be on point, and that's a fight that I'm interested in as well for Deontay. Usyk, Tyson Fury. You know, from the way of things, it's looking like we may have to go to Ruiz route right now. But even that's going to be fun for us.
Well, that was our next question, Malik. Is the WBC have ordered, obviously, Deontay Wilder versus Andy Ruiz. What does that fight mean to you, and what threat does Andy Ruiz bring to Deontay Wilder?
A Deontay that's disciplined, and a Deontay that's fighting behind a systemized game plan. With all due respect, it's not a tough fight for Deontay at all. And that's saying a lot because Andy Ruiz is tough. But I just believe when Deontay is focused, on point, fighting with tons of humility, that his test is the Tyson Furies of the game. No, those are his tests. I don't believe the Joshuas, the Usyks, the Andrew Ruiz. I don't think they come close to Deontay when he's focusing on point. I just don't. And believe it or not, I know we fought Fury 3 times, and the last time was considered one of the best trilogies of all time. But with this Deontay, I don't even think Tyson Fury can beat.
Interesting. Listen, interesting to that. You know, I love getting your opinion. You're a man on the ground now. We spoke a little bit about AJ, and have you had any contact with the team? Because I know on this side, people are talking about trying to make that fight happen. It'll be a fight that I think all of us would love to see. You've got power, you've got agility, you've got speed in abundance in that fight. Is that a fight that you'd be willing to make? You necessarily don't see him as a test, but I feel like over on this side that it's a fight that I think everyone would want to see.
Just before you answer that question, Malik, we seen Shelley Finkel in London last night, so rumours are starting. What's going on? Why is Shelley Finkel
here? There's a smile there. You know something's happening.
Yeah, Shelley's over there doing this thing. I can't really, speak on certain things, but he's definitely over there right now, and he's working, and but he's working. WBC just mandated us and Ruiz, so it's a few things just going on, man. But the whole purpose is to get Deontay the biggest fights possible, right now, and that's what Shelley's doing, and that's what he's working on.
If that fight does it happen in the UK or in the US?
If the fight does, if it was my pick, I would want it over in Dubai, over there with the Saudis. Okay. But it doesn't go my way a lot because I'm not the businessman. I'm the head trainer, and it's just never no telling how these things end up, man. So I don't know.
Has camp started for Ruiz yet? Is that someone who you're bringing in people to kind of try and replicate that style? Who can replicate that style? Because very, very, very fast hands. You know, he punches almost as fast as a middleweight.
Mm-hmm. I'm believe it or not, guys, I'm always on camp time. Every time I talk to Deontay, Jay, Shelly, I'm like, man, I just love being in training camp. A week after the fight, I was ready to go back to training camp. I'm here studying film now. I'm here with my notes. I'm here just writing up game plans, things that I want to do at a certain time in training camp, what I want done in pre-camp. But I could be a little bit overloaded with that. And what I would mean by that is sometimes you have to let the fighter decompress. You have to let the team decompress. Regardless of how much of a geek or a nerd I am when it comes to this noble art, I can't just hover all the time, you know, especially after a good win, because I see so much talent and so much dynamics in Deontay. I'm always wanting to, oh, we got to do more. Oh, yeah, we got that knockout, but now I want him to do it this way. I want us to, oh, he's sticking to a game plan, so now we got to throw this in the mix. Sometimes you got to back up and then just get into yourself as far as game plan. And that's what I've been doing since the Helenius fight. So right now, regardless, we're looking at 3 guys right now, you can say. Since probably 4 days after Helenius fight, I've already drawn up camp. I've already drawn up game plans. And this is just heading into pre-camp. I've started this. By the time pre-camp is over, whoever it is we're fighting, you know, their ceremony will already be almost done.
I enjoy that saying. It's dark, but, you know, yeah. I enjoy it. But let me ask you this, Malik. Now, you fought Fury 3 times. God willing, you come through Ruiz, and that when that fight gets made. You fought Fury 3 times. Okay, is that just going into the pot of information in your head, in your camp, on how to beat? What would be the game plan to beat Fury? Because we've seen almost 2 different styles of Fury in those 3 fights.
Right. So what the game plan would be to beat Fury is that's something that would be sneak peeked, obviously, information, because I believe, one, you have to be extremely sneaky when you're fighting the most sneakiest fighter, to me, in the history of the sport. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in a good way. He's very unorthodox. He's very sneaky. 1 minute he's doing this style, the next minute he's doing that style too. So, but pardon me, the game plan for Fury has already been, you know, written up. You know, I'm just the only thing I'm really focused on, guys, is it's not even the opponent. It's making sure Deontay is staying with an open mind the way he loves to be anyway. Because I believe, like I said, when he's on point and his mind is open, I don't care who it is. I believe they're just in the ring. They don't have no say-so. He can control these guys however it is he wants to control them. And if we're in the boxing ring, this is the most simplest way I could put it. You want to punch me. If I step back, you have to reach to punch me. Now, according to how good I am on making you pay for overcommitting, that's how long the fight lasts, when you punch as hard as Deontay do. So that right there, you ask me what's the game plan for Fury or anybody. The game plan for Fury or anyone Deontay fights is to create a comfortable environment. Get these guys so comfortable that they forget about the missile. And by the time they realize the missile is coming, it's too late and it's lights out. So that's my game plan concerning Deontay, for not just Fury, for anyone. We're going to create a comfortable environment, and we're going to walk these guys right into the bomb. They're walking on a landmine dealing with Deontay. They're walking on a landmine.
So to simplify, you're basically saying Wilder's basically learning how to box on the back foot, letting people come forward to him, just letting his hands go when they do that. If you guys go back and look at when he fought Bermain Severn, when he got his knockout against Ortiz won, Arthur Spilker, all these guys, like, he clipped kind of going back. So these are things Deontay was doing. But I believe just him doing it repetitiously in training camp and working on it day in and day out. And you have to realize he has me as his head trainer. And once Deontay leaves the boxing gym, boxing is not over. I'm not one of those kind of trainers. Once you leave the boxing gym, we're film studying. Once you leave the boxing gym, I'm talking to you about boxing. So I believe, even though I could be a pain in the ass a lot about this with Deontay, I believe it's needed, and I believe it's it adds on to him being the most dynamic fighter in the history of the sport, in my opinion.
As we know, Tyson Fury will be taking on Derek Chisora on December 3rd, live on BT pay-per-view. You actually fought Derek a few years back. You've been in the corner for Wilder Fury as well. What does Chisora need to do to win this fight? Can he win this fight?
You have to go with Fury as far as being a favorite. But one thing we know for sure about Derek is he's going to come and he's going to give it and he's going to run that engine all the way into the ground that he has. And he has a very, very good engine. So,
Malik, if you were in his corner, what would you be saying to Derek Chisora if he's going to be successful against Fury?
I would tell him to do what he's doing, but I would also tell him that once he gets close, don't make silent agreements with Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury is someone that understands physicalities. Tyson Fury is someone that if you allow him to lean on you, he will lean on you. If you become very, very violent with him when he gets close, then he'll go back to Tyson Fury of being on the outside, or he'll go back to taking things for granted like he did in the trilogy with us. Tyson Fury never fights in a high guard like this coming forward. But when he feels as though he's in control, he'll do that. And that almost cost him the fight with us in the third fight against Deontay, because he came forward with a high guard with his shoulders basically squared up like this. He gave us all of this. Deontay almost put a right hand through his whole body and knocked him down. But that happened because, one, Deontay, punches the way he punches. But Fury, after 3 or 4 rounds against any fighter, he starts taking things for granted. He starts taking life for granted. And in those moments, you got to take advantage of his mistakes. You got to take advantage of things, his vulnerabilities that's right there. And Derek has to do that. He can't make silent agreements. Once he gets close, he got to work his free hand. You got to beat Tyson Fury up in the inside as much as you can. But what he can't do is get close and allow Tyson just to hold him. What he can't do is get close and have a free hand but not using it. You can't rest when you're close with Tyson Fury. You have to be violent. You have to be very violent to send a mental signal to him to let him know that if you get this close to me, it's going to be a price to pay. But if you allow him to get close and you just playing this hug-a-tug game for him, you don't want to hit me, I don't want to hit you, so we'll just do this until the ref come. That's a part of the Tyson psychology. Like, you can't allow that. You got to make things very, very uncomfortable for him. And I believe in the first fight with him and Chisora that it was shocking, but Chisora did make, even though the fight was years ago, Chisora made things very uncomfortable for Fury.
Do you think
you know what I mean? So that's what.
Do you think that Tyson Fury then, in during fights, gets complacent, and when he does get complacent, that's when you've got to jump on him?
Bingo. And complacent, I basically said the same thing you just said, brother. Getting complacent is what I put in the meaning of complacent for a fighter is taking life for granted. So we'll say Tyson, in my opinion, he takes life for granted after 3 or 4 rounds when he's in control. Now, when he's not in control, to me, he's one of the best that ever lace him up. Tyson Fury, when he's in control, he's very vulnerable. That sounds a little bit backwards, though, right? Because you would think when someone is in control that they would have the Pernell Whitaker effect, that they still stay defensively responsible, that they still keep their chin behind their front knee. Fury doesn't do that when he's in control. He puts himself in the position to be hit. And this is why, even though he did what he did to Dillian Whyte, this is why I'm one of the few that gave Dillian Whyte a chance, because if it was ever a chance that Dillian Whyte was going to have a chance at beating Tyson Fury, it's the Tyson Fury now on the second half of his career. It's not the one, the herky-jerky one. That Fury is not really there no more, that uses legs a lot, that, really make you reach, then make you pay. That's not Fury now. Fury he has the Kronk style now. He's been working with a very good trainer, Sugar Hill, and they made their mind up that he was going to come forward to guys, get knockouts, and that's what he's been doing. But to do that, you have to put yourself in a position to be hit. And Fury right now is in a position to be hit. It just all depends on how Derek go about it, if he's able to get to him. But I'm sure Don Charles, who's a trainer I respect, I've always respected since I was a kid coming up in the game. I'm sure, he has some mojo that he's going to put in Derek's ear, and they're going to drill, and they're going to, do what they have to do to get closest to victory as possible.
Exactly, Malik. Now, before we go, I got to ask you all guys one question, because if we're sat here and doing this show in 1 year, who's #1 heavyweight in the world 1 year from now?
Joe Joyce, I think.
Wow, that was quick.
Yeah.
I think Joe Joyce. I think Fury retires. I think Joshua has against a Fury big fight in summer, then he retires. I think Wilder probably packs it in. There's no one to. I think if Joshua doesn't fight Fury, he fights Wilder, and then I think all of them 3 sign out. And I think Joyce is number 1.
I think Fury is still around in a year's time. I'm not sure who he's going to be fighting, but it's hard to look past him being number 1.
Interesting, Richie.
Totally agree. I think an Usyk fight will come off, and I think Fury wins it. And I do think that there will be a 4th fight between Fury and Wilder, which will sell, definitely.
Absolutely. Now, Malik, I've got to ask you the same question, brother. 1 year from now, I know the answer right now. 1 year from now, who's the number 1 heavyweight in the world?
Wilder, baby.
Okay, that's all we've got time for. Thank you, Carl, Richie, David, in the studio, plus our special guests, Tyson Fury and Malik Scott. As we've discussed, 2023 is set to be a massive year for heavyweight boxing. But is Derek Chisora about to put a massive spoke in the wheel? Find out December 3rd, live on BT Sport Box Office. Catch you soon.
He's a good fighter. I'm not gonna lie to you. As long as you don't mess around, he's good at what he does. I'm good at what I do as well, so we'll see.
Can he beat Tyson Fury? The answer to that question is anybody can beat anybody in heavyweight boxing, and it's just one punch. He's definitely got the power, and I would never underestimate somebody like Derek Chisora. If you have an off night in front of Derek Chisora and you don't feel good, or you do something stupid, you will lose the fight.